As you might know, Wargaming is planning on redoing some tier 10 medium tanks. First there was the Leopard 1, STB 1, AMX-30B and nerfs to the 430 and 430U, where meanwhile the last two ones were cancelled because they're huge backlash of Russians and it's a Russian tank and Supertest is Russian only. Jokes aside, yes, they got cancelled because they didn't really fulfill their purpose. I do think though that the tanks definitely need some nerfs in mobility, in the sense of, give it a longer turn time and not make it so agile, and maybe, or not maybe, and give them a freaking weak spot on their turret. It's stupid to fight against a 300mm all-around turret, GG frontally. Anywho, there were also changes to the Leopard 1 and the STB1 and the AMX-30B. And I can already tell you that the AMX-30B doesn't get changed in the second iteration. And I do think that's a good change, because the STB1 from the first iteration looks pretty good in my opinion. And sadly enough also how I would envision the Leopard 1. Anywho, there are two, I guess you can split up the community or the comments about the Leopard 1 in two little things or two groups. The ones which like the high alpha and ones which would rather have higher shot frequency. I once again said it wrong, goddammit. And less alpha. And I'm in the second group because I want to just state my personal opinion about it. I think that a higher shot frequency gives you less dependency on RNG, because when you miss one of your shot, it is not that bad because your next shot is already on its way to be reloaded. That's my personal point in that kind of argument. And the problem is, even though the Leopard 1 is accurate and will get even more accurate, even though 0.01 makes a really, really tiny difference, I would like to have a more frequent gun than having high alpha. Yet, I do have to say, high alpha totally has its place in the game. Just when I want to play high alpha guns, I'm going to play the Guerrilla 15. That's my personal view on that point. Nevertheless, the Leopard 1 can benefit from a higher alpha gun, especially on city maps, which obviously is a good thing, don't get me wrong. Anywho, let's now look at what Wargaming came up with the Leopard 1 and the changes which they gave it right now. The first thing is the tank will receive back its basic round, which will be APCR. You will still get the benefit of having more penetration of 278, but it won't go as slow right now. Well, or in the Supertest, it will stay the same as it is right now in the game at 1,480 meters per second if you round it up. That's okay. I don't think this was a big difference. The AP, let's not forget, the AP has better normalization, meaning that when you shoot at an angled plate, the shell will do more angles towards the armor, reducing the effective armor. And this also means APCR will ricochet at a less steep angle than AP does. So that's about it. So it's not a big difference in my opinion. Another thing is they're going to buff the premium rounds or the special rounds from its thing right here, 315 to 323, which is still, to be precise, 7mm less than what the Leopard 1 has right now. And it will stay at APCR, where meanwhile the Leopard right now has high explosive anti-tank. And I do think heat would be better because it retains penetration over distance better, but they looked at it and they're saying that the new APCR will not only be faster at 1,630 meters per second, it will also keep its penetration over distance better, as you can see right here. On top of that, these rounds armor penetration stays high at long ranges, which is nifty to hear, but we can't forget the Leopard 1 still loses 10mm of penetration at 500 meters, which is negligible. Another thing is which they buffed, and this is something which both parties, the ones which want high alpha and the ones which want low alpha and high frequency of shots, said that was a problem, and that is the accuracy on the move with the Leopard 1. Even though the Leopard 1 had a primitive gyroscope in real life, tank in-game is incredible inaccurate. And at the moment it stands at 0.17, which is abysmal if even this SDB1 is worse. This is also the reason why I play the Leopard 1 with vertical stabilizer, to somehow minimize the effect of this very, 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 very bad stabilization on the move. And with the stabilizer we can actually push it down to 13, which is on par with the Centurion Action X. But now the good news is they are buffing it down to 0.13, meaning right now with the changes we will get basically a free stabilizer in our tank, which is pretty darn nifty if I do say so myself. That's definitely something we can look forward to, and again this is what both groups said is a problem. And with the 1.7 seconds aim time, which is better than the Object 140's 2.01 seconds, yet the Object 140 still has better on the move accuracy but worse turret traverse accuracy. The Leopard 1 is here better with 0.8 when we take out the stabilizer again. There. So that's a good thing. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. Just one thing which I love, something I love about the EBR 105 is its very quick aiming gun, but we'll never get that. So yeah, that's just something. Nevertheless, I guess the changes to the Leopard 1, especially with the second iteration, look better. We still can't forget that the tank goes slower backwards now, but it goes a little bit faster forward to 70 kilometers per hour. So the other changes here will still stay the same. We get faster aim time, we lose HP, we get better turret traverse, we lose reverse speed, and so on and so forth. Again, it's not too bad, but those are good changes. Like, the second iteration definitely make a good view. So that's good. The next tank which we have a look at is the SDB1. And first thing first, they are going to give it the hydropneumatic suspension, the new Swedish meatball tanks or Udus tanks gets. So when you see me streaming, you will probably have already seen, or when you look at Skill for LTU, for example, he already played the tier 10 vehicle of those new branches. Let's be honest, the new mechanic is a little bit flimsy to use or finicky to use in my personal view, but it's still good, it's not too bad. The SDB1 will, in theory, lose 10 degrees of gun depression base and only get 6, but with the hydropneumatic suspensions, it will be able to go down all the way to 12 degrees, which is pretty darn good, and as far as I know is equal to what the Udus will has. I'm not entirely sure. I think he has 13. Yes, he has 13, so 1 degree less than what the Udus 15-16 will have. Which is totally good. Like, 2 more degrees of gun depression is actually amazing for the SDB1. And also something which I made a little bit of a mistake in my video about the SDB1 or about the changes. Those nerves to penetration on standard shells is at 500 meters, which at the moment was 248. So the standard penetration will stay at 100 meters at 258 millimeters. So yeah, it just loses more penetration over distance, making heat shells a little bit more decent for long-range targets because they have 330 base penetration, then lose that. But for that, they also lose a little bit of shell velocity on the premium shells. So what they also want to change now is the turret armor. This is the turret model of the standard SDB1. I think I'm not entirely sure now. Gosh, damn it. No, excuse me, this will be the new one, and this one here is the old one, because you can see there are more green spots around the gun mantle, while here are more yellowish spots. Especially right down here you can see 252 to 253 millimeters of armor, where the new turret will have 285 to 294 millimeters of armor. And I'm sorry for whoever watches this on mobile devices, you won't see anything. I'm sorry for that one. But anyway, the turret will get stronger, especially the gun mantle will get stronger. The cupola will stay the same though. and the hull will also stay the same, which is, I think, a good and welcome compromise. That's totally fair and as it is right now. Another thing which they're going to change is giving it more DPM. A tiny touch more, to be precise, and they're going to buff the DPM to all the way to 3032 base, which is pretty darn strong, because that would go up as well if I am not mistaken, because for some reason it's this right here on the page, but whatever. Nevertheless, we get another 0.2 seconds faster reload, meaning that in theory we will go down to, well, 6.3, well, we take 7 to 5.6 seconds reload time if it's linear, which is pretty darn impressive, if I do say so myself, especially because this tank is planned to be a close range hold down brawler. Meaning, yeah, you can most likely perma-track an enemy if they are not careful on what they are doing, which is pretty strong, in my opinion. But that's about it, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to keep its... And the other changes, they're going to stay as is, just that they are going to give it a little bit more penetration in the... a little better turret armor. Just give me a second. Honestly, I don't want to sound rude, but this right here is way less informative than what the German side did. Oh yeah, the AP shell also gets a slight touch faster than what we have right here, which was a nerf to 1050 meters per second. It goes up to 1185 meters per second. Yeah, that's about it. And in conclusion, we could in theory look forward to different changes to the Object 430 and 430U, and also something which was important, and here for some reason it's not mentioned, but in the German article is mentioned, that they are also going to look sooner or later at the 1-2-1, because let's be honest, this poor little fella at the moment is all the way over there in the corner, crying, weeping with bruises all over it because the 430 raped it again. Well, yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you think about the changes. Don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of news. Not daily dose of skill, because I'm not good as skillful at you. Whatever. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll talk to you all later in a different video. Bye, guys.